Look around any crowded room, and you're going to notice a really predictable pattern. You've got dozens of people packed together, shouting over one another, desperately trying to interject their opinions, their achievements, their jokes. It's just this chaotic symphony of egos constantly fighting for attention. But I want you to shift your focus away from all that noise for a second. Look over into the corner of the room. There sits one person, completely quiet. They aren't scrolling on their phone, they aren't looking away. They're just watching, taking it all in. That quiet individual, they are almost always the most dangerous, the most capable, and the most intelligent person in the entire room. Welcome to this explainer, where we are going to dive deep into the ancient Stoic secret of silent power. We're going to break down exactly why the most brilliant minds in history chose to talk less and why fools just never seem to stop speaking. Society has really conditioned us to believe that the loud person is the confident one, right? Like they're the undisputed leader of the pack. But the reality is actually the exact opposite. The weakest person in the room is usually the loudest. Why? Because they're desperate to be heard. They're desperate to impress people. They feel this overwhelming need to dominate the conversation just to validate their own existence. The silent observer, though, they don't need to perform. By simply watching and listening, they retain all of their power. They're holding their cards incredibly close to their chest, while the loud person is over there busy showing their entire hand to the room. And that leads us straight to a pretty brutal Stoic diagnosis: the loudest fool. Most people assume intelligence is measured by what you say, by how quickly you can fire back a clever response. But the Stoics understood something entirely different. True intelligence is actually about what you carefully, deliberately choose not to say. According to ancient Stoic texts, talking more than listening isn't a sign of dominance at all. It's a glaring red flag of a foolish mind. This philosophy completely redefines intelligence. We're not talking about IQ scores or academic degrees here. Stoic intelligence is a rigorous discipline. Think about it. A foolish mind speaks merely to impress others. They interrupt, they talk over people, and in their obsession with proving their worth, they actually end up revealing their deepest insecurities to the whole world. The intelligent mind, however, treats silence as an active state. It's not passive. It's the ultimate mastery of self-control. The great philosopher Epictetus laid this truth bare when he said, "Talking constantly is simply how ignorance escapes unnoticed." Just let the reality of those words sink in for a second. When someone is constantly running their mouth, just throwing out words to fill the silence, they are literally trying to hide what they don't know. They're using noise as a smokescreen. And an intelligent mind? It doesn't need a smokescreen. So let's get into part 1, the rule of silence. Speaking with actual purpose. This ancient secret was wielded by the most powerful minds in history. Epictetus commanded his students to be mostly silent, and on the rare occasions they did open their mouths, they were to speak only with absolute purpose. And why is that? Well, it comes down to a cold, undeniable biological reality. 2. We were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a very specific reason. Listening is literally the only way wisdom actually enters the human mind. Think about it. When you're constantly talking, you're merely repeating information you already know. You're just stuck in an echo chamber of your own making. But when you shut your mouth and open your ears, you suddenly have the opportunity to learn something new. The wisest men in history never claimed to know everything. They simply listened twice as much as they spoke. Understanding how this plays out in your daily life is absolutely crucial. The exact moment you utter the phrase, "I already know that," you just slammed the brakes on your own growth. You signal arrogance, and you immediately close the door to new perspectives. It's literally the defensive shield of the insecure. Now contrast that with absolute silence. When someone shares something, even if you think you already know it, remaining silent turns you into a sponge. You absorb the nuances. You observe their motives for telling you in the first place. You signal humility, which, by the way, is not weakness. It's a quiet, unshakable strength. As Epictetus astutely observed, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. Every single time you replace that arrogant urge to interrupt with silent observation, you are opening a doorway that intelligence walks right through. Arrogance loves to disguise itself as confidence, but highly intelligent individuals know the difference. Keep your mind open and let your silence do the heavy lifting for you. Moving on to part 2, guarding your explanations, protecting your peace. Look, silence isn't just about learning, it's about protecting your inner world. Your words reveal your level of self-mastery. One careless, emotional phrase can destroy years of respect in a matter of seconds. An intelligent person knows they don't owe the world a constant narration of their thoughts. There are specific things the strong just never give away. First, time to prove themselves. Stop giving explanations to people who have already made up their minds about you. Second, explanations to closed minds. It is a complete waste of breath. Third, peace of mind for others' drama. A strong person listens, sure, but they do not carry what isn't theirs. Fourth, forgiveness without change. Listen closely here. Forgiveness without change is simply permission for them to do it again. Real forgiveness is earned, it's not demanded. And finally, loyalty to those who don't deserve it. Cut the dead weight. Protect your energy. Your loyalty is sacred, so stop handing it out to people who treat it like garbage. So, I want to ask you directly, based on what we just talked about, are you handing over your power? Every single time you over-explain yourself, or every time you offer an emotional reaction to someone who's just trying to provoke you, you are springing a leak in your personal power. You're literally handing the remote control of your emotions over to people who simply do not matter. The intelligent mind recognizes this trap immediately and responds with the most devastating counterattack possible: silence. Notice how a single, really subtle shift in language completely changes your reality. Saying, "they made me angry," transfers all your power to someone else. It forces you right into the role of the victim. No one forces anger upon you. It's a response you choose. But saying, "I allowed myself to react," man, that flips the script completely. You own the emotion. You move from being a complaining victim to an untouchable master. When you master your internal dialogue and choose silence over an outburst, no one can ever weaponize your emotions against you. Which brings us to part 3, the power of the observer, operating on a whole new level. While everyone else in the room is busy fighting for attention, desperately trying to prove their worth, the silent observer is analyzing hidden intentions. They're gathering critical information that the loud fools are just freely giving away. As the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When your thoughts are disciplined and your mouth is shut, your entire aura changes. Stoic silence becomes a weapon of dominance. It makes you unpredictable, and human beings naturally fear and deeply respect what they can't easily understand. When you talk less, you give them absolutely nothing to use against you. You become this blank canvas that just reflects their own insecurities right back at them. So how do you actually implement this today? Here is your direct path to mastery. 1. Stop interrupting. Just let people finish, even if they're dead wrong. 2. Stop trying to prove how smart you are. The right people will see it, and the wrong people wouldn't believe you anyway. 3. Let fools speak to impress. Let them exhaust themselves. And 4. Observe intentionally. Watch their body language. Listen to the insecurities hiding behind all their boasts. Remember, every unnecessary sentence you speak is a leak in your personal power. Plug that leak today. It's time to embrace that silent power. Your words are a finite, precious currency. You have to stop spending them on people and situations that do not yield a return. Let the foolish speak to impress, while you stay quiet to observe, to learn, and to conquer. If you're ready to master your words and embrace the formidable power of the observer, I want you to drop a comment below this explainer right now saying, "I will listen." Make sure to subscribe to this explainer series to continuously build an unbreakable, stoic mind. And I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The next time you find yourself in a crowded room, desperate to speak up and prove your worth, ask yourself, who in this room is silently using your own words against you?